A beautiful afternoon to you and welcome to International Forum. I am Wilson Omasha. Christmas tomorrow. I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and of course a prosperous New Year. Sign up with the CMD of ITV Radio, the summer of the universe, Chief Dr. Gabriel Sarik Benedio, the management staff of ITV, and of course our teaming viewers and listeners out there. I really want to wish you all a Merry Christmas in advance and a prosperous 2020 that will be coming up next week. By God's grace, we will all get there. Welcome to International Forum. Don't forget that Christmas is about giving, all right? Yeah, it's about giving. Go to the streets, go to the orphanages, go to the IDP to who are there. They are there. Go out there, give out something. Let us feel that impact of Christmas and New Year. Quickly, news making the round. Prince Philip has left the hospital for Christmas. Yes, Prince Philip, 98 years, right? One of, close to the Queen, very, very close to the Queen. And he has done so much for the Queen, for country, for UK, for England. Due to related health issues, was admitted, but he doesn't want to spend his Christmas holiday in a hospital. Yeah, he was taken out of the hospital just to have the feel of Christmas with friends and family. And a report made by the House, so to speak, when you talk about the Queen, they like saying that he's just okay, everything is just all right with him. And before you know it, he's going to be back on his feet. Yeah, longevity, 98 years. Quite interesting. Now, let's move straight down to what is really going on with Boeing. You might have heard about Boeing 737 MAX, right? And you heard also about the two dastardly accidents that plane was involved in. I'd like the PD to flip through the video for our audience to really appreciate what we're talking about. Boeing 737 MAX, where the chief executive was sacked, so that people, countries can still have confidence in Boeing 737 MAX. PD, please, we would like to see that clip of Boeing 737 so that our audience can really appreciate it. Now, you heard about what happened in African continent, right? If that concerns the Boeing 737, and many persons also, they've been clamoring for many fines to be paid for persons affected by the crash of the plane. Yeah, and this is one of the finest U.S. exports. But since the two dastardly crash, its confidence level when you talk about air travel plummeted because of people that lost their lives. Many are clamoring for charges and damages. And of course, someone needs to pay for it. Someone needs to be roped with the incident. And the person that was asked was the chief executive, Dennis Muhlenberg, in a bid to restore confidence after two deadly crashes involving 737 MAX. But the big question now is, even with the sack of Dennis, we talk about the chief executive director of a Boeing company, is it going to restore confidence? Yeah, on the aircraft, because many people are still feeling the pains due to the loss of loved ones that tried to travel, that traveled in those two Boeing 737 MAX that crash landed, destroying lives. No one survived according to reports and of course record, and a vote of no confidence was passed on Boeing 737 MAX, and we are told to stop production. But with this one now coming up, is it going to be an aspect of telling them to produce it, or you just never can tell? You never can tell if they can just make do of it by replacement of the chief executive officer or director, Dennis Muhlenberg. Anyway, let's see what will happen if the confidence level of people that like flying, if it will be restored in this aircraft, Boeing 737 MAX. Finally, let's get straight down to Indonesia, where 35% plus the driver got involved in an accident and plunged into a ravine. It was so sad. 25 of them lost their lives, and the government of the day choose to tell the police to focus more on recovering the living, because according to report, only 13 or more survived it and were rushed to the hospital, but they confirmed that 25 are dead, and relatives of these persons, they've been called upon to come identify the bodies of the living and the dead. What really went wrong, they don't know, but investigation has been opened and they really want to know how it all happened. For a car conveying passengers to plunge into a ravine and through the river, you get to realize that something might have gone earlier. Is it due to sabotage, or maybe someone was drunk while driving, or maybe the terrorist attack? Nobody knows. The investigation is still ongoing, and if they're able to find out what went wrong, you'll be the first to know via this channel, or even our sister channel like BBC or CNN or Al Jazeera, because we're really interested in what went wrong in Indonesia for a car to plunge into a river that led to the loss of life, 25 dead. That is truly colossal. That is huge if you want to measure human life in an accident. All right, we'll go for a break. When we return, it's all about the impeachment of Donald Trump here by the House of Representatives and the impact it's going to have in the U.S. politics. Both sides are talking tough. Pelosi, given reason why she chose to, after the vote, declared that President Donald Trump has been impeached, the third to be impeached in American history. That is truly landmark history. But there were some of the representatives from the Democratic, of the Democrats, so to speak, that just to decamp. Yeah, they became Republicans. Are they turning into Africans? Anyway, my analysts really want to throw more light on that. Today, I really want to appreciate one set of personalities. You know, this is the end of the year that always take our time, make that sacrifice. Whenever we call on them to come analyze topical issues that always they want to talk about. This morning on ITV, you talk about Good Morning from Benin, you talk about Africa This Course, you talk about International Forum, you talk about Flip Side, even talk about 60 Minutes Nigeria, and of course Business This Week. What about our entertainment program, lunchtime? Whenever I reach out to these people, they always oblige us. I'm talking to you, and of course one of them is here with me, always making that sacrifice to keep you informed with wonderful analysis. I really appreciate all of you. ITV Radio appreciate all of you, our wonderful, wonderful analysts, our public affairs commentators. You know, this is the end of the year, the season. We really want to really appreciate you. Just keep the fire burning, and one of these days, not to worry, the reward is on earth, not in heaven, okay? You'll be rewarded also on earth and in heaven. Thank you so much for obliging us. Even to you, sir, Reverend Humphrey, I really appreciate you, sir. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming. You know, 365 days, almost 365 days, whenever I get a call on them, they show up. You know, buying of fuel, getting themselves here, it's not that easy. I appreciate all of you. Let's keep this friendship going on, all right? Keep it going. Keep it going. You are really appreciated. Even our callers also in some of our shows, all of our shows, Bishop Esau, you know all of them, just countless, okay? You just countless. I appreciate all of you. Now, to the talk of the day. At first, it came as a rumor that Democrats are planning to impeach Donald Trump. People just looked at it and said, look, okay, we're expecting that, but it's not that serious. All of a sudden, there was an inquiry, accusation and counter-accusation. Ukraine came up, and Joe seems to be the trigger that really ignited everything. It's not about a Democrat candidate, Joe Biden. He only wants to run. And Donald Trump, according to report, insisted that an investigation must be done on Joe Biden by the Ukrainian president, or else their aides will be trampled on. Anyway, from there, it started as a rumor, and here we are today, the third president of the United States of America to be impeached by the House of Representatives.
Well, thank you very much. Everything in life most probably begins with a rumor.
Yeah.
Rumor in the sense that people hear discussions and some others filter it out for a larger discussion. And you begin to ask questions. How can these things be? How will it be? And when will it be? So, yes, it's something that people expect and they expect because of the intricate nature of the word impeachment. Impeachment is not something you just take off the shelf and do. It's a rigorous exercise. It's a political risk that you take, and taking it not really based on your political differences, but based on the constitutionality of the actions of the occupant of the White House, which is very fundamental to democracy and also fundamental to the American society by reason of their constitutional thoughts, when they believe that all men are equal and that everybody with a responsibility of an office must show some degree of temperament, some degree of the decorum that befits that office. They look at the office as highly esteemed and must not be demeaned. And once there is an action or inaction of an occupant, there is a serious thought by the people through their representative in order to make sure that the sanctity of that office is not degraded. And this is where we are today in the American thought between the House of Representatives and President Donald Trump.
All right, 3 presidents, they've gone through this process, and the House of Representatives were able to do what they ought to do following the Constitution. But there were reactions and counter-reactions, and one was aimed at Pelosi, saying that what she did was out of malice, hatred, and strong disdain for Donald Trump. How do you view that opinion?
Well, you always know that in every issue there are various and varied opinions. Yeah. Opinions of interest, opinions of a lot of things. You will appreciate the fact that since the coming of Donald Trump, a lot of things has gone wrong by the American perception of that office. And of course, there's also the personal issue, because the Republicans do not want to be seen as destroying their own house. Therefore, they want to guide. But you look at the fact that the American society looks at it from a broader perspective. And that's why in the midterm election, there was a drama that took place that the House of Representatives went to the Democrats because most of them were not satisfied with the actions and utterances and personality of the president. So they needed a president who can be held accountable, not an emperor. They didn't need a monarch who can issue directives. You look at what happened to the issue of immigrants. Yeah. And look at the due process was not followed. In the presidency that we are witnessing in America, due process has been trampled on the ground. And because of that, the American citizens were not very happy. So they showed that during the midterm election. And that is what the Democrats have seized to say, look, we are going to hold the man accountable based on issues and thoughts. Impeachment would have been what would have been the outcome of the inquiries for the Russian interference in the American politics. But you appreciate that everything that was supposed to be needed, some of them were hindered, particularly some of those who were to testify by the president, which are, as far as the concerned, obstruction of justice. You know, the Ukraine issue just gave another window of opportunity for the Democrats, and you see what they did. During the Russian investigation, they went to the court always to seek to enforce their powers. And there's always this issue of justice grinding slowly, and it takes a lot of time. And in this period of Ukraine, they didn't do that. They knew they didn't want a long process. They needed some things. And so that shows also some maturity in political thinking. And I gave that to Pelosi because she... Is
it maturity in political thinking, or should we be looking for a way to take a jab at Donald Trump. You talked about the Russian inquiry due to the fact that evidence is refused to come out smoothly. And of course, court processes, even witnesses were barred from coming. It is not what Donald Trump talked about disdain for him. They're just waiting for this opportunity, and they're cashing on it.
Well, you see, I don't want to go through that personal issues.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there's no problem between Pelosi and Donald Trump as individuals. It's based on policies. It's based on constitutionality. So some of the time, I try to distance myself emotionally from events and what I see. I try to look at it for what it is. The president at this time have not given even respect to the House of Representatives. The Constitution of America talks about 3 equal branches of government. The legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. No one is more important than the other. And the Constitution have basic rules that when the House needs an information, they cannot be hindered by the executive. It's clear. But this president has insisted on nothing. He believes that whatever he says goes. Whoever he doesn't like, he trashes the person. His utterances has been very bad in most of the persons within and outside of his country. And look at how he has dealt with Canada. Look at how he has dealt with Iran. Look at how he has dealt. So his demeanor in dealing with people do not have the courage of what the Americans are used to. Americans see themselves as principal of the world. You know, who has the command? Today, America is virtually alone. You know, but that's on the outside of what we're talking about. But looking at the inside of politics, I simply would not want to see it as a point between Pelosi and Donald Trump. Pelosi tried to establish her rights and principles and practices of what the Constitution gives. And if you don't respect is reciprocal. You respect me, I respect you. If you don't, you have seen in meetings where they are talking, and the language Donald Trump uses is very offensive to most of them. And they say, no, we don't want that. You see, he has worked out on them. Yeah, a lot of things has happened. You know, but this is an opportunity. To me, Donald Trump gave himself up. Because there are things...
Gave himself up how?
Because it is your action, it is the actions of the president people are talking about. If he didn't perform those actions, nobody will. Why will you dismiss an ambassador of a country? Not because he has offended the constitution, not because he has offended them, but because your personal lawyer insists that she's not giving him way to do what when he, as a lawyer, is not permitted by law to do international diplomacy on behalf of the country.
All right, now Donald Trump firing that ambassador, is it outside the right of the president to do that?
No, it is not. It is within his right to appoint and fire an ambassador.
Okay.
But your right is guided by principles and rules. You don't just wake up in the morning and fire an ambassador. No, you have to. There are principles. There are reasons. It must come through the diplomatic processes, through the Secretary of State, and all that. Which was not. This one came because Billy Giuliani said that the person is obstructing what he wants to do. And look at whatever the person has done. She has not offended. He has not done anything wrong. So why will you do that? So you also said, and it was because of that the what has been appropriated by Parliament, by the Congress, which again is against the law for a Congress to pass something and the executive holds it. It should have gone back. If there's a problem, it should refer back to the Congress of his reasons why he cannot do that. But for you to unilaterally within your office, not even within the process, because we've also seen that within the process, officers who were duly doing their duties in the presidency were removed and politicians were put to facilitate his mind. And that is also, this is why we say we're talking about principles. We're talking about people within the office coming out to say, this is what has happened. This is what we don't find in Africa. That's why our leaders in Africa do whatever they want to do and get away with it. Once you swear an oath to the Constitution, you're not swearing an oath to be loyal to the president. You are swearing an oath to be loyal to the country. You are not a staff of the president. You are a staff of the country. You are not paid by the president. You are paid by the country. So that's where loyalty lies, and that's what they have simply just done. You may not like it, but when you're coming, when there is a decision between loyalty with the Constitution or the people and the Constitution and a personality, the Constitution takes precedence. And that's what has been exhibited. That's my liking within the process. You know? Even though I would have loved it to be bipartisan. Again, you can see the partisan nature.
All right, now you just hold on. We want to go for a break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. But if you didn't join us at the beginning of this program, you can go to our YouTube channel. Just log on to youtube.com/ITV Radio NG and log on to any of the videos, this video, International Forum, then, or any of our current affairs program. They are just there for you to go have a preview, listen again, over and over again to get a message of our discussion. It's all about Donald Trump's impeachment and the impact in U.S. politics. Now, you're talking about the Constitution. We're talking about loyalty. In this context, is the House of Rep loyal to the Constitution or to mere feelings? Because that's what Donald Trump is talking about. Even the Senate also, they're saying this is like a personal thing because of the way Pelosi and, of course, the House went about it. It was too speedy. It was too fast. It didn't follow the time scheduled for a case of such magnitude to really be investigated and facts bringing out.
You see, it's easy for anyone who has a problem always try to deflect. And Donald Trump is a very good actor.
Yeah.
He tries to deflect a lot of things, looking at what he has done through the presidency. But looking at it, you see, I don't want to fault anyone. I keep saying the law has been followed in trying to adjudicate the rightness or the correctness of the actions of the president. But has the president cooperated? These are some of the things. It takes two to establish a fact.
Yeah.
If I bring a fact and you don't dispute it, it remains a fact. Donald Trump has not disputed emphatically those things he has been alleged to have committed. He is talking about political witch hunts. You look at the issue of Russian interference. The entire apparatus of governance of the country alluded to the fact that there was an interference. He was the only person who told everybody that it's not correct. You cannot be the wife man in the world. Two, when you look at this issue of Ukraine, though some of the staff within collaborated the fact that his actions was against the Constitution. Why will you see, if you feel you're not guilty, why do you prevent people from talking? That, to me, is a sign of admission of guilt, because you do not want people who are the fact. Because the point is, once they appear before the Congress, two things happen. If you lie, you are going to jail. So you must speak the truth.
The truth.
And he knows that the truth will implicate him. His best is to prevent it from happening. It could only take a time. The Senate, it's not that the Senate of America has said whatever the House of Reps did was wrong. Again, it's a partisan issue. The Republicans in the Senate are saying this is just against the president. You don't like the president. Fine. Let us also cast our mind back, and these are two things.
Yeah, right.
When Bill Clinton was being impeached, he was not impeached for infraction on the Constitution. He was impeached on one of the cardinal principles of which the American was established, morality.
Yeah, based on morality, not Constitution.
Not Constitution.
Okay.
Which is even a lesser thing to a constitutional breach. The House of the Democrat sided with the Republican to impeach him, because it was not a party issue. It was a country, it was the integrity of a country. That's why the institution of the presidency is the symbol of the country. Now we're having this issue. the Republicans are siding, even though some of them have, over the period, admitted in some discourse that the president has only done infractions. But said because he is a Republican. But let me also cast your mind back. When Barack Obama took over office at the beginning, on the day of inauguration, the Republicans met. They didn't attend the inauguration. They met and said he must not do a second term. They will make sure. And that's why almost everything that Barack Obama did, the Republicans never allowed it to work. So it is, you are taking back your own comment. And most of the laws that are established in working on this, they were made by some of them Republicans. And that's like what the other people were saying. You make these rules. So why will you now say the rules are no longer good? Yes, 2 days ago, somebody was showing what McConnell said during the Clinton's impeachment. And that's exactly what. So why are you now opposing it? Yeah, some of the things. So we cannot have two laws based on differences of political ideology. No. The Constitution is the unifying factor. Right. So whatever is happening, let's forget about the party issue. It's okay. Let's have people testify. Now you are saying, as a judge, you cannot have. You see, when you go to court. Yesterday I was reading, the judge on Showery's case said I cannot hold the case because the man has accused me before. It was obvious that he would think I will not be fair. He puts off his hand. Yet the Senate majority there have decided that he will do what the president wants to be done. How can you do that? And the minority say no. We need to hear these persons. If you say you have a case, let's bring the witnesses so that they can tell us. If you think that we have done you wrong from the House of Reps, let's have a look at your witnesses, people that know something about it, to testify in the Senate. And they are saying no. So as far as I'm concerned, justice, he that must come to equity must come with a clear hand. So the Republicans has to. Now that is in your court, you are not a majority in the Senate. Allow the minority also to have their say. And let them work together. They requested, Democrat requested from the House, you said no. Now it's in your court. So let's see how you're going to do the judgment. But you have already said from the beginning that you're not going to do it that way. And that's why I keep saying that Pelosi is not a one-time legislator. It's a long-term Democratic Republican. She knows the rules of the game. I always say, as long as you are not sure of the rules you're going to follow, I cannot transmit.
Because we are coming to a transmission right now. If it's going to give credence to what the Republicans are saying, that this is a case of mere winching. Before we go to that aspect of transmission where McConnell is really talking tough about it, accusing Pelosi of trying to drive the process of telling them what to do, that it will not stand for it. But 3 Democrats deflected in the House of Reps.
Yes.
Is that not a strong signal that the way and manner about which Pelosi went about all this was not in accordance with specific emotions, rules, even the Constitution?
No, but if you heard what they said,
they
have not queried the procedure of the process. They are talking of back to their own constituencies. They do not so much favor impeachment. You see, that's the beauty of the American democracy. That you don't sit in the White House or in Washington like the Nigerian politicians will do, like the African politicians will do, and take decisions without going back to your constituency. But also go back to, they saw in them that they're not going to win election if they go along with them. And that's why also do they do it at late hour? Because of that. So it's not really because of what has been done. It's because of their political future.
But still, apart from that also, it's like you're a thumbs up for Donald Trump.
No, you see, he gained by that act. But does not mean that he has gained politically. These are some of the things. But we'll look at this issue. Later you will find out whether those 3 persons who left will be back to the House of Reps. Because, for example, even if we're talking of solidarity. It's not because Donald Trump has done a perfect job that the Republicans in their entirety are on his side. No, they are looking at it from their own political perspective. You know, and that's what it is. It is, and that's why democratic principles are what can grow a society. If you neglect to hear the voice of those who sent you, they will recall you.
And now the voice of those who sent them, is it stronger than the Constitution? We're talking about the stand of the Democrats.
No, the Constitution.
Is that what they're saying right now?
The Constitution vests the power on the people. But how many? You have 250 something.
Yeah.
Only 3 defective. That's minute minority. That's in the process.
All right.
So these are some of the things. It's obvious that you may not always have 100%. Not everybody in your party will agree with you.
True.
Even before she became the speaker now, people oppose her. And there are people who don't like her, even in their democratic environment. So I don't have those issues. But my joy in that is that they heeded the voice of their constituents. And don't forget that Donald Trump won those states where these people came from during the last election. So Donald Trump has ground in that environment. And they have to be looking at it. So, but that's why, again, I look at issues from personal perspective. What is your conviction? Can't you live without politics? There are some things. If your conviction is against your principle or your political belief, you make a choice.
Okay.
And so I respect them for their choice.
So it's all about choice right
Yes,
now.
it's about choice.
Not about constitutionality.
No.
Just your people
For
that you
this,
represent.
For this arrangement,
Yeah.
it's not because there's a constitutional problem. It's a choice. Even during the last year, there were some Republicans that voted against the Republican ideas in the Senate. And that's the point. So it's not just one. But the point is, when it comes to the nitty-gritty of issues,
Yeah.
the Constitution prevails. And that's what some of them are going to suffer too. Because the Democratic, I read in one of the places, I already said, the man who even had defected was already having a problem of not going back. So he was just trying to safeguard his. But there are Republicans who are already on the race that will not step down for him.
Wow. Interesting. It's all about politics. No permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. It's even obtainable in America. What we're really talking about today, Donald Trump's impeachment and impact in U.S. politics. We'll talk about the political aspect of all this, because I like saying that they have 2020 in focus. Before we get to that, the price of transmission, which we dabbled into earlier on, Macaulay was like, look, Pelosi, transmit. Because before the deal was made, he said, look, let them finish whatever they are doing in the House of Representatives. If you come to the Senate, it will be fast, it will be split, permitted, and the event will remain. Is that the fear of Pelosi?
Yeah, that may not also be a issue. It was not a political benefit you have of the Republican leader to be saying things even before they come to that point. They've already talking of termination. They've already talking of, so what is that you want to do? Again, Pelosi also, you see, you're talking of political tacticians here.
Yeah.
You have to look at the thing. The longer it draws, the more difficult for people to make decisions. But 2020 is in view. There's no doubt about that.
Wow.
Okay. The desire that he doesn't return. Every opposition party, that's the aim. Every party wants to go to government to have the power to do that. That's why I'm saying that Pelosi is also a very good tactician. She's very slow. You know, even at the beginning, she never talked about impeachment. She never. It was gradually when they saw the thing began to that okay, there's going to be an impeachment. He first of all opposed it from the beginning, even from his party. There was a revolt.
Yeah.
How will you say that? That shows to you the kind of human being she is. She also looked at it. If I transmit this in the next day, it's terminated. Then you don't go back campaigning that what I've done is rubbish. Let's get some time. The Constitution didn't specify the time of transmission.
But is that not against the Constitution? Because I was coming
No,
to
it's not against
that. No, talking about transmission,
Yes.
there was a speedy judgment.
No.
So why Is there a delay in transmission?
Yes, it's according to her own tactical moves. The speedy thing was also because of that. Because like I said, she could have as well go to court to try to see how he can bring those witnesses, but that will take a long time. And the longer a matter drags, the more people lose interest. So this is why you have to be observed. You have to observe the temperaments of issues. She knew what she was talking about, you know. But she has also said, I'm sorry, she's talking with her lieutenant in the Senate, Schumer, that look, and those people said we must discuss the terms on which this thing will go, and both of them have not agreed. So why would she be in a hurry? She wants to also give the Democrats in the Senate time to prepare and do whatever they want to do to make, because we're talking of fair hearing. That's what the president, he didn't get a fair hearing in the House of Reps. You want to get fair hearing in the Senate.
The Senate, yeah.
You don't get fair hearing by fiat.
How?
You terminate, like they have said. Yeah. McConnell said it, Graham said it, that it's going to be a rush thing. And
yeah, very speedy.
The president needs it speedy. And then no. We need to pick time. Let people process things. Let us also see. By the time it's not getting to the law, because so long as that impeachment hangs, the president cannot be very bold in doing some things and saying some things. So it's also a curtailing process for him.
Also a curtailing process,
yes.
But slowing down the process, is she not impeding the Senate from doing their job in this regard?
It's not, because the Constitution says the House will transmit, but it never gave time for transmission.
So that's a loophole Pelosi is exploiting.
She has said she has not appointed the managers, because he has to appoint managers from the House of Representatives that will be there in the Senate to talk on behalf of them. They have not appointed them, so you cannot transmit.
Now talking about the Pelosi process, delay transmission.
I'm saying that she has calculated within her political wisdom as the event unfolds, and that it is better for, if it was not going to be to her interest, or to the, I'm not using her now, I'm using her as a Democrat. If it was not going to be to their interest, she wouldn't do that. Okay. But I'm sure that she also wants to get some things done. The Christmas is here. You know, when you are doing something, you have to also take about some people's thoughts. It was obvious that if you had transmitted it, in the next day they would have finished that thing. And everything they had done would have been rubbished and forgotten.
Wow. They've been rubbished and forgotten. Now, 2020 in view.
Yes.
No one out of the three, so to speak, that was impeached by the House of Rep were able to get a second tenure. Do you see Donald Trump breaking that jinx?
Well,
because he's still talking tough, accusing Pelosi of witch hunt, hatred, disdain towards him.
No, that's a language of Donald Trump from beginning.
Yeah.
It's a language used for the Russian environment. So that is his language. And so I do not take some of the things he says on a serious note. I take them on the very surface level. Everyone is talking. What did Donald Trump do? His eye was on 2020.
Yeah.
His only main challenger from his political calculation was Biden. I needed to make sure that that was destroyed. So the Democrat also needs to make sure that he's dented for 2020. It's political give and take. That's what it is. So he has to carry that cross. You know, you see, anything can happen in politics. Three things happen in American politics. One is if the politicians are able to move the political base into election. Two, if the independents are hungry enough to vote or either make a change or retain. And three, if the American economic base is solid enough for people to say, well, even if the political atmosphere is poisoned, the economy is okay. So these are issues that affect the American political voting. And each of the political parties wants to do something to make them advantageous to them. Right now, most of the outside world dealing with America has been slowed down because they feel there's uncertainty in the political atmosphere of the American states. So it's going to affect, and the Democrats may use that opportunity to talk about who is America in the face of the world right now.
But according to Donald Trump, the economy is doing well.
Well, again,
They want to make America great again. And according to him, he's doing it, and he was being cheered.
Yes, in some environments.
Yeah.
Not everything he talks about is correct. We had some fact checks that have been released. He comes with the television personality and the showmanship. That is still carrying on. A government that have almost lost all its staff, to me, that cannot be talking of stability. Okay? When you have lost your principal hands to help manage a political environment, policy environment, that should be a problem for any establishment. When you talk about turnover, when you have too much of turnover in the business, turnover of staff, the business will not go. There could be some flamboyant thoughts. He knows how many of those companies he said we're going to come back has come back. Because almost all the countries and the contracts that have been signed by others, he has overturned all of them. And so there's a new process of coming. So you don't even know what is going to happen. So what is being enjoyed now is that the American economy and politics is grounded and stabilized. It will take more than a century for any body of political structure to overturn it.
All right. Get a strong signal that our time is up. Now, what advice do you have for persons watching us right now, various countries? What can they draw from what is happening to Donald Trump briefly?
Yeah, I believe that we should be looking at the fact that we need to place our constitution. Yeah. We need to place the people above the individuals. Nobody is above the law. That no country should allow its leader to be despotic. You say power corrupts. Yeah. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. And the only way to curtail it is for those other arms of government to have their acts together in making sure they act as buffer for the people against a president who may not be very mad and considerate in the constitutional processes of his life.
You're speaking as if you don't like Donald Trump right now, sir.
I didn't like him as a person from the beginning. I don't hide my own. Right. But you see, I go beyond. People are talking about are talking about religion and all of them. I don't do that. No. His language is what I don't like. His demeanor is what I don't like. When you defame and demean people, that's, to me, is offensive.
That's right.
Be civil enough, and but it goes. I don't mind whether you're a Democrat or Republican.
Well,
but treat people with respect and treat the Constitution as it ought to be.
Thank you so much, Reverend. I appreciate the wonderful analysis. Let's see what is going to happen, because Donald Trump is still talking tough. His followers are strongly behind him. Is it going to go break that jinx or history of when you are indicted by impeachment? Forget about second term. Is it going to be the president come 2020? We don't know. Ours is to watch and, of course, observe. Bye for now.